Hello and welcome to Control-Delete Tutorials. My name is Jason and we're going to do another Python programming tutorial, this time looking at creating a text-based rock, paper, scissors game. It's going to be relatively simple to go through. We won't be really creating any methods or classes in this tutorial. We're just going to just go through the code and the logic to kind of do a rock, paper, scissors game. So to start out, I am going to create a couple of variables. So I'm going to have one to record our wins, one to record our losses, one to record how many rounds do we want to go through. That way we can have an output at the end that says, what our win % rate is. And then we'll kind of take it from there. So start off with our wins, and we'll just default that to 0. We'll have our losses, which I guess doesn't necessarily get used at the very end for the calculation, but it will allow us to figure out, when our rounds are kind of through with. And then we'll do rounds, and I'm going to start off with just a best of 3. So we'll do a best of 3 rounds. Okay, so here's where our we're going to use a while loop, which is basically going to check that while our wins and losses total is less than the number of rounds, we'll continue to loop through this cycle. So this is where the main part of our code is just going to happen. So simple enough, we'll just start with our while loop, and we're going to say while the wins plus our losses is less than our rounds, and we'll hit enter to start the while loop code block. So we want to have the computer basically pick between some random number. So in order to do that, we're going to import in the random module. So I'm just going to hit enter a couple times here to give me some space, and I'll just import in the random module. So this will give us access to be able to create random numbers. While we're here, we're also just going to import in time. That way we can just delay our message a little bit, kind of like we did in one of the other tutorials for text-based games. So we'll just do time. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and create a variable for our delay. We did this also in another one. So we're just going to set our delay to 0.5, and that'll come in handy later. That way our messages, as they're kind of hitting the screen, they're not all going to happen one right after another. They'll kind of pop in, which I think makes it a little nicer to look at. All right, so what do we want to do here? We want to basically have the computer, or CPU, or whatever you want to call it, computer character. So have the CPU randomly pick a number from 0 to 2. Now, why 0 to 2? We need to have 3 index numbers. So in order to do that, 0, 1, and 2 is what we're going to use. We start counting and programming at 0 typically, so that's why we are doing 0 through 2. So the way we can do that is we can call the random dot, and there's a randint function. That's part of the random module or the random class. And it takes in to its parameters 2 arguments. So the first argument that we're going to have is an integer. So we're just going to use angle brackets here to just say that this is the data type we're dealing with, 1 integer. And this is going to be the starting point, and it's the number will be inclusive. So we'll put inclusive, making sure I'm spelling things right there, inclusive and that will be our start value. Okay. And the reason I'm putting inclusive in there is sometimes our ranges or different numbers that we use in these arguments can be exclusive, which means that it's not going to include the number that we are using. In this case, it does happen to be. We'll do angle brackets again just to show that we're dealing with an integer data type. And that is going to be our inclusive end value. Okay, so that's how the random function works. Pretty simple. All right, so we're going to start off just by saying what round we're on for our game. So how many rounds we have. Now, we're going to make it to where if the CPU and the user pick the same thing, so if they pick rock and we pick rock, that's not going to count against our rounds. That's not going to change that. So we're only going to make it to where if there are wins or losses, that's what ends a round. If there's a tie, it just doesn't count. So we are going to do a print function, and we're going to do a formatted string. So our formatted string will allow us to put in variables in the middle of our string. So we'll start off by saying this is going to be round. And the way we calculate our rounds is we have our wins plus our losses plus 1, because I want to start counting at 1. So it'd be like the first round is round 1, not round 0, because normally we would again start at round or start counting at 0. So this is going to be round 1 of rounds. Okay, so that's however many number of rounds we have. So if this is 3, we're going to have 3 here. This will start off 0 plus 0 plus 1. So it'll be the first round is round 1 of rounds. Okay, so we're just going to print that message there. And then we are going to create our random number generator, so to speak. So people like to throw around the term RNG a lot for that. So I just think it's a good variable for us to use. So our RNG is going to actually use that random int. So we're going to type random dot. You can see as we type rand, we get rand int in our autocomplete or in our IntelliSense. Okay, we have our parameters. So again, we have our first number, which was going to be 0, and our second number is going to be 2. So that will give us 3 numbers to pick from. Now we can create a series of if, else, if, and else conditions to check which one is being chosen from the random number. So we're going to say if our RNG equals 0, then let's say we create a variable called enemy choice. I guess we could do CPU choice. Maybe that'll make more sense. CPU choice is not necessarily an enemy. And that's going to be scissors. Now I chose scissors and paper first because a lot of times people will pick rock, so we could make it to where rock is picked more than everything else by changing how this if statement works. Okay, so that one's going to be scissors. And we're going to do elif. So typically we would see else if in other programming languages. In Python they use elif, which is kind of funny. But so else if our RNG equals 1, our CPU choice is going to equal paper. Else. So this is why we could have, like, if we wanted to make it to where rock shows up more than the other ones, we can make our range a higher number and rock will show up more often than not, which makes it a little easier to beat the computer. But right now we're kind of on an even playing field. So this else will be our CPU choice equals rock. Okay, so that'll take care of the computer's choice. Next, we're going to do our choice. So we can go ahead and put that as either your choice or user choice, whatever you want to use. I'm going to say your choice. Okay, and this is going to be an input. So we've used the input function before. So our input is going to ask some sort of question. We're just going to tell them basically how we want them to answer here. So we want them to pick, and our options are going to be rock, paper, scissors. And then we'll give a little colon and space there. And we're going to convert whatever they type to lowercase, so we're only looking at lowercase. So that'll let us do that. All right, so after we have our first message, let's see, we had a message here. Why don't we go ahead and put our time.sleep here. Okay, time.sleep. We'll put in our delay. Okay, so that means that our text before the next part shows up is going to be delayed by 0.5 seconds. So it just gives a slight delay there. And we'll do the same thing after this line of code. So we'll do time.sleep and we'll do delay. All right. So now we're going to check, did the person type in rock, paper, or scissors? And if they did, we can basically print out a message for that. So we're going to say if your choice equals rock or. Now see, I like Python because we have this or operator, and a lot of other languages it uses these two straight lines, which visually, I mean, you get used to it, but it's really nice to just be able to type in or. Okay, or if your choice equals paper. And one more, or your choice equals scissors. Oops, that should be quotes. Okay, scissors. So if it's rock or paper or scissors, we're going to get a message. Now we want to make sure that all of this text is going to match up. Rock, paper, scissors, no typos here. We want to make sure everything's right. Otherwise, the game doesn't really work. Okay, so we're going to print a message. This is going to be another formatted string that we print out. And we're going to say that we're just going to say what you picked and what the CPU picked. So we'll say that we'll say you picked, and we'll put in the choice. So that'll be your choice. And then we'll do, we'll separate with just a comma, that'll be fine. And the CPU picked, and another set of curly braces. This is going to be the enemy's choice, or sorry, change the variable there, CPU choice. Okay. So we'll get that message there now, and that will just kind of confirm our picks there. And if this pops up, we're going to use our time.sleep. Just to delay the next message. All right, let's break out of this if statement. So now we actually want to go through and check between the different choices, see what is actually being done. So we're going to say if your choice. Now I know we did this just up here, but that was just to get a message. I'm going to put a space here just to give us some room. So if your choice equals rock, but this is going to work differently than the part up top is what I was trying to say. We're going to have a series of if statements here checking, okay, what did the enemy actually do? So in this case, I'll have if your choice was rock, we'll do if the enemy, so that would be the CPU. So if the CPU choice equals rock also, then we tied. So in that case, we're just going to print you tied. Or we could put in something like you tied, restart the round. So that way we have like a verbal reason why the round number stays the same. Okay, I'm going to do elif, elif, and there we're going to do CPU choice. And if that one, let's say equals paper. Okay, so if we picked rock, they picked paper, that means that we lose. Okay, so we're just running through the logic here of the game. So we'll print, and we'll just print. You know, you could print something instead of just you lose. Let's assume maybe the person doesn't know how the game functions. So you could say, let's see, paper covers rock, you lose. Okay, give them a little bit of information. Okay, paper covers rock. And here we could have another elif. Now you could do an else statement, but we're going to save that for the very end, just in case. And also I think it just makes it a little easier to see what choices are made for the next part we're going to do. So instead of just doing the else, we'll do CPU choice equals scissors. Okay. I feel like it doesn't like the code there for some reason. Are we good? Oh, that's because I didn't type elif. It'd be too much work just to retype all that, right? Okay, so then we have scissors. So print. So in this case, if we picked rock, they picked scissors, we win. So we could say rock. Okay, go away message so I can see. Rock breaks scissors. Right? Yeah, that's so you win. And we'll do an exclamation point because winning is cool. Also, something I forgot to do, which we'll do now on both lines, is where we lose here, we want our lose count to go up. Okay, so losses plus equals 1. Okay, and if you're not aware, plus equals is the same as writing losses equals losses plus 1. Same idea. Okay. So just writing plus equals using our augmented addition assignment. We do that there. Okay. Here we need to have our wins plus equal 1. So same idea as we did on the other line. Okay. So that's if we picked rock. Now, what if we didn't pick rock? Okay. So we're going to backspace 2 times. So enter and backspace. This would be an elif, your choice. Now you could copy and paste this. I'm just going to go ahead and write the first part out. All right, so in this case, my second one, I will test for paper. Okay, then we got our 3 choices here. I'm going to copy and paste these. So I'm going to select everything here. So go ahead and select that while I move my code down. My notes. Okay, so Control C, or you can right click copy. And we're going to paste that in. Now, if in this case we don't want rock, so here we say paper. Okay, so that way we tie. This makes it so we don't have to change a whole lot of stuff. Okay, so what does paper beat? So paper loses to scissors. So here we would want scissors. Okay, so if they pick that, we say that scissors cuts paper. You lose. And finally rock, if they chose rock. We're going to use our same message we just had here. Down here. Keep this consistent. Paper covers rock. Oh, but we don't lose. So we only need the first part. Paper covers rock. Okay, paper covers rock. You win. Okay. At the end of this one, we're going to have another elif. Now, again, you might be saying, well, shouldn't we have an else statement because there's only one other option? Well, no, there's not one other option. So let's say somebody was kind of joking around and they decided that up here in their input, they typed potatoes. Okay, they type in potatoes. It doesn't recognize that. So that's where our else is going to work for here. So just in case they type potatoes, which we'll test out. Okay, backspace 2 times, elif. Your choice. Again, you can copy and paste this if you want. And we're going to finish off here with scissors. Okay, so scissors. Okay, don't forget your colon. There's a joke to be had there, but I seriously can't bother myself. All right, we're going to copy our messages here. We'll paste those in. Okay, here we have if scissors and scissors. Okay, so if we pick scissors and they pick scissors, we tie, and we're going to restart the round. Okay, so in this case, we would lose to rock. So CPU chooses rock. Scissors is broken by that, so we can just copy our message here. Rock breaks scissors. Let's see, this one. And then finally paper. And paper covers. Wait, what? They picked, scissors cuts, right. Scissors cut paper. Almost put the wrong one in there. Okay, that gets our win. And then finally we have our else statement. So we're going to backspace twice, else. So this is in case they didn't type rock, paper, scissors. So here we can just print out a message, print, and in quotes, okay, not a formatted string this time, just a regular message. You didn't type rock, paper, or scissors. Okay, we don't have to really say too much more on that. Let's give them some exclamation points. They should feel bad. Okay. So after any of these messages we would have gotten, let's go ahead and just do our little time delay thing just so we can read our messages on screen for a slight second. All right, so here we'll print our wins and losses. You don't really need to skip this many spaces. So here, I only did this because I'm going to print out our wins and losses. So I'm just going to do print. And in here, this is going to be a formatted print, or a formatted string. And we're going to do wins. Let's go W here, capital W, wins. And curly braces will print the wins. And then I'm going to separate this with the straight line. Okay. And then that'll be losses. And we'll print out our losses. That should be good. Okay, let's go ahead and okay. So after we do that, we want to display the final results once we've broken out of this while loop. Okay, so if you see here, our while loop all the way up here, is aligned with everything else here on the left. So breaking out of that means that after all this is said and done, we'll hit enter a few times and we'll backspace out of here. So this means that we have finished the while loop. Display the results. All right, so here's the issue with our results. Our results, to figure out what the I want to display a percentage basically, and so the expression that I might use to do that is something like our actually, I don't think that would be an issue at all. Yeah, we'll still do this anyway, just in case. I think the math still works out okay, but let's test it without. So our expression, we're going to do our, just in case I'm wrong on this, our win percentage. I ended up writing an if statement just in case we got a number of 0, but then I realized that my math was switched after the fact, so this wasn't necessary. Percentage. So our win percentage is going to equal, and I'm going to round this value so that I can get a nice round number. Just in case when we're dividing we get a like 66.6, we can get a 67%, or 33.3 would just give us 33%. So that's going to be our wins divided by the number of rounds that we had. And then that will be multiplied by 100, which will give us our 100%. Now we could have put this into the print message, but I don't have to go there. We could have just put that equation or that expression directly into our print message, but it makes it kind of long and hard to see, so I'm putting it into this variable. So here we have print. It's a format string. So we're going to say U1 curly braces. We'll put our win percentage. Win percentage with a percent next to it of the time, or of the matches. Okay. And that should be it. We can go ahead and try this out. Now we've got a lot of stuff here to kind of test out and make sure it works. It's not too bad. Got all the code done, and I skip a lot of spaces here. So if you want to tighten this up and put all the code together, by all means do so. I just like certain bits of information to be separated. That's just my way of doing it. Why doesn't it like this? Not callable. Int object is not callable. I don't understand. Rounds. Oh, why did I put... Sorry, that's my bad. Round. Make sure you have round there, because we're rounding this value. Rounds is a variable. I must have accidentally hit tab on the wrong one when I was typing. So we're rounding that function, not rounds that function. All right, yeah. So we should be good. So I'm just going to, in PyCharm, right-click here and run my code. If you're using something else, then you'll have to run your code however you're doing. So round 1 of 3. So I'm going to pick rock. Now, the nice thing is I formatted it to lowercase. So even if I type in uppercase here, you picked rock, the CPU picked rock, you tied, restart the round, wins 0, losses 0. So we restart the round. I'm going to type rock again. You picked rock, the CPU picked scissors, rock breaks scissors, you win. So my wins goes up by 1, losses stays at 0, round 2. We could make it to where every time this happens, we put a space in between these as well. Might help separate each of the rounds. So we could do that as well if you don't want all this text to be kind of jammed together. So let me show you where we would do that. Okay, so we had our last message here. We print our wins. So we could either print an empty message at the very end here in our while loop. And that would just print out a blank empty line. Nothing would be there. So if we replay, we should be able to see that. Okay, so I'm going to do rock. You picked rock, the CPU picked scissors, rock breaks scissors, you win, wins 1, losses 0. Round 2 of 3. So now we got a little space in there. That feels a little better. I kind of like the way that works. Okay, rock, paper, scissors. I'm just going to pick rock for everything. Okay, you picked rock, CPU picked rock, nothing changed. Rock again. You picked rock, they picked rock. This is going perfectly. Okay, alright, there you go. So paper covers rock, you lose. 1 win, 1 loss. Let's go for broke. You picked rock, they picked paper. Oh, they got 2 wins on us. So you won 33% of the matches. Now, if we want to make sure that our percentages work properly, we want to see that we can get a 100%. So we can change the code a little bit just to do that. So if I go up here to RNG random, and I put in a big number, that means the chance of me getting rock is going to be huge. Okay? So since rock is our else here, we're going to basically get rock every single time. Well, they are. So we should pick paper to be smart. Paper. Okay, they got rock. Paper. Okay. Paper. All right. So I got 3. That's 100% of the matches. That's good. Now we can do just the opposite. Let's force them to pick scissors. So in this case, the only thing that would show up is 0, which means they're going to pick scissors. So we need to lose to scissors. So we're going to pick paper all 3 times there as well. So I picked paper. Okay, you picked paper. The CPU picked scissors. Scissors cut paper. You lose. Okay. Finally. 0. You won 0%. Okay, yeah. I was worried about a division divide by 0 error, but that's when I had the equation kind of set backwards when I was doing this. So we're going to reset everything. If we want to give the higher than normal chance that they pick rock, we could just make this number a little bit bigger. So this makes it so rock has a slightly higher chance than paper or scissors. Or you can just set it to 2 and it's always going to be random. That's fine too. And that kind of does it for this. We want to make sure that we've reset everything. So our amount. Now if you want to change the rounds, it's nice and easy. Just change your number here. That should change everything. Shouldn't screw anything up. Round 1 of 5. Okay, type in rock. Oh, nope, don't type it in there. Rock. Okay, picked rock. They picked rock, you tied. Okay, oh, okay. Okay, there we go. They seem to pick what I pick a lot of the times. Maybe I'm psychic. I don't know. Alright, scissors. Okay, picked rock. Rock. Picked rock. Really likes to do that. Oh, yeah, I didn't end up showing if you typed in potato. Potator. You didn't type rock, paper, or scissors. So that'll happen with anything. Okay, it'll also accept paper. You picked paper, they picked rock. You win round 5 of 5. Here we go. Paper. Wow. Rock. Hey, look at that. We got an 80%. So we won 4-1. If math serves me right, I guess that would be correct, right? I don't know. I'm not here to teach math. But logically it all works, so that would be our game. I'm going to do a final scroll down just so you can see everything all in one go. That way, if you need to pause and check something, you can do that. But thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you're a student of mine. Hi. If your name's Brian, hi, Brian. Okay, so here's all the code. Pretty cool. Not too bad of a game. There's a way that you can tighten up some of the code. But just for a beginner's course, I think this is pretty easy to go through. Oh, look at that line number. The last line number. That's a funny number. All right. So that should cover everything. All right. So thanks for joining me on this wild ride. Hope you liked the video. Hope it was helpful. Peace, love, and cheeseburgers.